Your shampoo should be the safest thing in your bathroom. It shouldn't be the reason your hair is thinning, shedding in clumps, or why your scalp suddenly feels irritated for no reason. But a chemical hiding in hundreds of everyday shampoos is now being linked to cancer, hair loss, and chemical burns, and most people have no idea they're rubbing it into their scalp several times a week. What makes this even worse is that many of the brands people trust the most are the ones quietly slipping these ingredients into their formulas while spending millions on pretty packaging and feel-good marketing. If you're interested in this topic, hit the like button, subscribe, and type "interested" in the comments. And I will give you a heart. Think about the bottle sitting in your shower right now. You bought it because it promised stronger hair, thicker hair, smoother hair, or something that sounded like it was designed for your exact problem. But behind all the shine and the slogans, some of these companies were adding a preservative that literally releases formaldehyde. Yes, the same chemical used to preserve dead bodies. And while nobody would ever knowingly put that in their hair, a lot of people already have, because they were never told it was there in the first place. That chemical is called DMDM-hydantoin, and once you understand what it does inside a shampoo bottle, everything else we talk about today will make sense. It keeps products fresh by slowly leaking formaldehyde over time. The problem? Formaldehyde is a known carcinogen, and it doesn't just sit in the bottle. It touches your scalp. Your bloodstream absorbs it. And the reactions people reported weren't mild. We are talking burning, itching, unexplained bald patches, breakage so sudden it looked like chemical overprocessing, and a cycle of shedding that didn't stop until they threw the shampoo away. But here's where the story gets wild. Even after major companies announced they'd remove this ingredient, the older, dangerous bottles never disappeared. They stayed on shelves. Stores kept selling them. And shoppers kept buying them, completely unaware they were choosing formulas that should have been pulled years ago. And that brings us to the first big offender, the one that shocked millions of people when the truth finally came out. Before we dive in, type "check my shampoo" in the comments if you want me to break down the ingredient list of the exact product you're using. OGX sold millions of bottles by convincing people they were getting salon-quality results without paying salon prices. The Biotin Plus collagen line especially became a bestseller because it promised thicker strands, fuller hair, and stronger growth. On paper, it sounded like the perfect solution for anyone dealing with thinning hair, breakage, or age-related loss. But here's the truth most shoppers never imagined. The same bottle that promised to help your hair grow was quietly causing people to lose it. Hidden inside the formula was DMDM-hydantoin, the preservative that releases formaldehyde over time. Most people never think twice about preservatives. They assume if it's in a big brand product, it must be safe. But formaldehyde is a whole different story. It's a known carcinogen, and when it touches your scalp, it can trigger inflammation, irritation, and a reaction so aggressive that hair literally detaches from the follicle. That's why people using this shampoo started noticing the same disturbing pattern: tenderness on the scalp, sudden thinning around the hairline, clumps in the shower drain, and bald spots they had never experienced before. Then came the lawsuits. People shared photos of patches of missing hair, chemical burn-like reactions, and shedding that didn't stop until they abandoned the product completely. Some described the sensation as a slow burn every time they washed. Others said their hair became so brittle it snapped between their fingers. The stories were almost identical across thousands of customers. What made the whole situation even worse is what happened in 2021. Johnson & Johnson publicly announced they would reformulate the product and remove the ingredient. That sounded promising, until customers kept finding the old formula on shelves at Walmart, Target, CVS, and even online stores. Retailers didn't pull them. Distributors didn't stop selling them. Shoppers kept buying them without realizing they were picking up bottles that should have been gone years ago. So people thought they were buying the new safer version, but they weren't. They were buying leftover stock slowly leaking formaldehyde every time they opened the cap. It's one of the worst disconnects between corporate PR and real-world products that we've seen in the beauty industry. And here's the real kicker: people didn't just lose hair. They lost trust. Buyers chose OGX because the branding felt wholesome and the bottles looked high-end. The biotin and collagen claims made the product feel nourishing. Meanwhile, the ingredient quietly hiding in the formula was working against everything the label promised. If you've ever used OGX and experienced sudden shedding, itching, or thinning, you're not imagining it. Your scalp was reacting to a chemical it was never meant to touch. And this isn't even the only brand using that exact same ingredient. Before we move on, type check mine too, if you want me to analyze the shampoo you're using right now. Tresemme built its reputation on looking like a salon brand you could afford on a regular budget. The Keratin Smooth line in particular made people feel like they were getting professional, sleek results without spending $50 at the salon. The bottles looked premium, the commercials looked luxurious, and the word keratin made everyone assume they were doing something good for their hair. But behind that polished image was the exact same ingredient we just exposed, DMDM-hydantoin, and the reactions customers reported were even more alarming. People expected this shampoo to tame frizz, soften their hair, and make it smoother. Instead, many users say it left them with thinning strands, irritated scalps, and in the most extreme cases, chemical burns so painful they needed medical care. Not dryness. Not a little itch. Actual burns, red, raw, inflamed skin that felt like it had been exposed to a harsh chemical peel. The pattern was so consistent across so many users that lawsuits exploded in multiple states. Women and men both reported the same cycle. Their hair looked fine at first, then slowly started to feel brittle, then began snapping in pieces, and finally started falling out in patches. Some described running their hands through their hair and having entire sections shed into their palms. Others said their scalp became so sensitive they couldn't even scratch their head without pain. And just like OGX, the ingredient causing all of this was that same formaldehyde-releasing preservative. People trusted Tresemme because it positioned itself as the smarter, budget-friendly alternative to expensive salon products. But instead of strengthening hair, it was doing the exact opposite. Some customers said they lost years of hair growth progress in a matter of weeks. Here's what made everyone even angrier. Unilever, the parent company, previously settled lawsuits for similar issues in other product lines long before this one. So people naturally asked. If they already knew this ingredient was a problem, why did they keep using it? And why did bottles containing the old formula stay in circulation, still being sold, long after people began reporting severe reactions? It makes you wonder how many customers were silently affected but never connected their hair issues to their shampoo. Thinning hair gets blamed on age, stress, or hormones, not something sitting in a shower caddy. If you've ever used Tresemme Keratin Smooth and you're noticing sudden thinning or breakage, type "that happened to me" in the comments so others know they're not alone. Pantene is one of those brands people grew up with. It's been in commercials, salons, magazine ads, and bathroom cabinets for decades. The bottles look clean and trustworthy. The scents are nice. The formulas feel rich and creamy. And when you first start using Pantene, your hair really does feel amazing. Smooth, shiny, soft, easy to brush, easy to style. That Pantene glow is real, but only for a short time. Then the problems start. The entire formula works like a beauty trick. Pantene loads their shampoos and conditioners with heavy silicones, the kind that coat your hair like plastic wrap. At first, that coating feels silky and makes your hair look healthier than it actually is. But with continued use, the buildup gets thicker, heavier, and more suffocating. Instead of helping your hair, it starts suffocating the strand, blocking moisture, blocking nutrients, and preventing your natural oils from doing their job. It's like putting glossy makeup on a cracked wall. It hides the damage for a moment, but underneath, the wall keeps getting worse. Here's what people experience right before things start falling apart. Your hair looks a little duller. Then it starts feeling heavier, almost waxy. Then it stops holding a curl or a style. Then the breakage starts, split ends everywhere. Then the shedding increases. And finally, your scalp starts overproducing oil because the formula keeps stripping it with harsh sulfates. The result is a nasty cycle. Greasy roots plus dry ends plus brittle strands plus shedding. And here's the part most people don't realize. The silicones they use aren't the light, water-soluble kind. They're the industrial, stubborn, water-resistant type, the kind used in waterproof products. Your regular wash can't remove them. So each time you shampoo and condition, you're adding more layers on top of the mess already sitting there. Add in parabens that mess with hormones, sulfates that strip your scalp, and preservatives your skin doesn't want anywhere near it, and you get a formula that looks high-end but behaves like a chemical peel for your hair over time. The craziest part is how many women only connect the dots after they stop using Pantene. Thousands of people say the same thing. My shedding stopped within weeks of switching. My hair feels alive again. My curls came back after I quit Pantene. That waxy coating finally broke down. For older adults with thinning hair, Pantene is especially brutal. Aging hair is already fragile. These harsh formulas speed up the thinning process and make breakage far more aggressive. If you've ever noticed your hair looking great for 2 weeks and then suddenly turning into something you barely recognize, type Pantene trick in the comments so others know they're not crazy. Suave is the kind of brand people buy when they want something simple, cheap, and familiar. The bottles look harmless. The scents are nice. And for anyone living on a tight budget, Suave feels like the safe, practical choice. $3 or $4 for a huge bottle. Most people don't think twice. But behind that low price is one of the biggest traps in the entire hair care aisle. Just like the other brands we covered, Suave was caught using dimethyl-hydantoin, the same formaldehyde-releasing chemical linked to hair loss, scalp burns, and long-term irritation. And the lawsuits didn't come from a handful of complaints. They came from waves of people saying the exact same thing. Their hair didn't just get dry, it broke, it thinned, it shed, and in some cases, it fell out in patches. That's the painful part. People weren't buying Suave because they wanted luxury. They were buying it because they genuinely needed something affordable that wouldn't tear up their wallet. Instead, they ended up paying more in doctor visits, hair repair treatments, wigs, hair oils, and products to undo the damage. And here's what makes the story even worse. Multiple lawsuits claim the company allegedly knew these reactions were happening while still advertising the products as safe, gentle, and for all hair types. Imagine buying a shampoo marketed to families, kids, seniors, only to find out it contained an ingredient linked to irritation and hair loss. That's not a mistake. That's negligence. People said their hair turned brittle like dry pasta. Others said their strands snapped when they touched them. Some woke up with hair on their pillow. Some said their hair puffed out like straw, completely unmanageable. The ones who suffered the most were older adults, because aging hair is already fragile, and Suave's formula pushed it right over the edge. But here's the real slap in the face. Repairing chemically damaged hair can cost hundreds of dollars. Deep conditioning masks, bond repair treatments, scalp serums, dermatologist appointments, all because of a $3 bottle that pretended to be harmless. And just like OGX and Tresemme, old Suave formulas stayed on shelves for years, long after people thought they were gone. Clearance bins, discount sections, smaller groceries, they kept popping up. People bought them without realizing they were picking up formulas linked to lawsuits. If you've ever used Suave and noticed sudden dryness, brittleness, or shedding, type Suave got me in the comments so others know they aren't alone. Head & Shoulders is one of the most recognizable shampoos in America. Your dad used it. Your grandfather probably used it. The commercials make it look like the ultimate fix: flakes gone, scalp clean, confidence restored. And yes, the zinc pyrithione in the formula absolutely kills dandruff. Nobody is denying that. But while it's solving one problem, it's quietly creating 3 new ones you're not prepared for. The formula is loaded with harsh sulfates, the kind strong enough to strip grease off a garage floor. Those surfactants rip away your scalp's natural oils every single time you wash. And here's the twist most people never realize: your scalp needs those oils for balance. When you strip them too aggressively, your skin panics. It goes into overdrive, producing even more oil to replace what was lost. So the cycle looks like this. You get dandruff, you use Head & Shoulders, your scalp dries out, your scalp produces more oil, you get more flakes, you use even more Head & Shoulders. They fix the symptom. They create the cycle. And you stay dependent on the product. Then there's the fragrance problem. The ingredient label simply says fragrance, but that single word can legally hide dozens of unnamed chemicals. Some of those chemicals are known irritants. Some are hormone disruptors. And none of them are listed individually on the bottle. You get a secret cocktail your scalp never asked for, and if you react, you'll have no idea which chemical triggered it. A lot of people report itching, redness, tightness, burning, and even new flakes they never had before. Some users develop dermatitis, not mild irritation, but inflamed, angry skin that needs medical treatment. And guess what most people do when that happens? They use more Head & Shoulders, thinking they need stronger dandruff control. It's the perfect trap. Older adults get hit even harder. As you age, your scalp naturally produces less oil and becomes more sensitive. Adding aggressive sulfates and hidden fragrance chemicals is like throwing gasoline on a fire. The formula doesn't just dry you out, it accelerates sensitivity and makes it easier for your scalp to become irritated by anything else you use. People who finally quit Head and Shoulders say the same thing. My scalp finally calmed down. The flaking stopped after 2 weeks. My hair stopped shedding. I didn't realize it was the shampoo creating the problem. If you've ever used Head and Shoulders and felt like your scalp got worse instead of better, type "I've seen that" cycle in the comments. Garnier Fructis is one of those shampoos that tricks your senses before it even hits your scalp. It smells like a tropical vacation: pineapple, coconut, fruit cocktail, Hawaiian breeze, everything your nose loves. But your scalp? Your scalp is screaming for help while your nose is being seduced. Here's what most people never realize. That fruity fresh smell isn't fruit. It isn't natural. It isn't safe. It's synthetic fragrance, one of the most unregulated and problematic ingredients in all personal care products. When a label says fragrance, that one word can legally hide dozens of chemicals, including known hormone disruptors and skin irritants. Companies don't have to list them. They don't have to explain them. They don't even have to warn you. It's the biggest loophole in the entire beauty industry. And Garnier uses that loophole like it's a business plan. The whole blends line is even sneakier. The bottles show honey dripping off wooden spoons, creamy avocado halves, olive leaves, coconut water splashing across the label. Everything designed to make you believe you're buying something natural, nourishing, gentle, or botanical. It's marketing genius. It's also misleading. Flip the bottle and reality hits hard. Synthetic fragrance. Artificial dyes. Harsh preservatives. Drying surfactants. Zero transparency about what's actually inside those natural scents. Green packaging. Natural photos. Chemical formula. That's not nature. That's greenwashing. Most people don't notice the symptoms right away because fragrance reactions build slowly. First it's a little itch. Then a tight scalp. Then redness around your hairline. Then flakes you never had before. For some people it goes further. Full-blown contact dermatitis that needs steroid cream to calm down. And older adults feel this the most. Your skin becomes more sensitive with age. Your moisture barrier becomes thinner. Your scalp can't handle synthetic fragrance the way it did when you were younger. This is why so many seniors say things like, "My scalp burns now when it never used to. My hair feels brittle even though I'm conditioning. My dandruff got worse when I tried something new." It's not aging. It's chemical buildup from synthetic fragrance and preservatives hiding behind natural marketing. And here's the part nobody tells you. These chemicals absorb straight through your scalp. They get into your bloodstream. They accumulate over time. Your body remembers every exposure. If you've ever used Garnier and noticed itching, redness, burning, or unexplained shedding, type "I felt that burn" in the comments. Manner and Tail is one of those brands that exploded because of a rumor. Someone online said, "Horse shampoo makes your hair grow faster," and suddenly thousands of people were rubbing equine products into their scalps like it was liquid gold. But here's the truth nobody wanted to hear. This shampoo was never meant for humans. Not even close. It was designed for horses, big, heavy, outdoor animals with thick, coarse hair that can handle mud, sweat, hay, and dirt storms. Their hair is basically rope. Human hair is delicate. Your scalp is sensitive. Our pH is different. Our oil production is different. Our follicles are smaller and easier to damage. So what happens when you use a product built for a 1,200-pound animal? Exactly what the lawsuit said. Irritation. Chemical burns. Hair loss. Bald patches that don't grow back the same. People thought they were getting stronger, longer, shinier hair. Instead, they got breakage, brittle strands, and shedding that didn't make sense until they stopped using it. The ingredient that keeps showing up again and again? DMDM-hydantoin, that same formaldehyde-releasing preservative we've already exposed in several other brands. When heat and water hit it, it slowly releases trace amounts of formaldehyde right onto your scalp. And your scalp absorbs everything. Countless users said their hair started thinning within weeks. Some reported red, angry patches on their heads that felt like a chemical burn. Others said their hair literally snapped off mid-strand like dry twigs. It makes perfect sense when you think about the reality behind the trend. Horses don't deal with age-related thinning. Horses don't struggle with hormonal hair loss. Horses don't need gentle pH-balanced formulas. Horses don't need scalp-safe ingredients. Mane and tail was never designed for humans. It was repackaged for profit, and people paid the price with their hair. If you ever tried mane and tail and your scalp didn't like it, type "horse shampoo hurt me" in the comments so others don't fall for the same trap. After dragging so many brands through the mud, let's finally breathe for a second. There are shampoos that don't sabotage your scalp. There are formulas that don't hide formaldehyde, don't trigger inflammation, and don't coat your hair in plastic. Two brands stand out, one premium, one budget-friendly, and both are genuinely safe for older adults, people with thinning hair, and anyone tired of being lied to by drugstore labels. Let's start with the premium one. Alterna Caviar, the anti-aging formula that actually helps your hair. If there's one brand that earns the title worth the price, it's this one. Caviar sounds expensive because it is, but in this case, that cost goes straight into real repair. And no, they're not cracking fresh fish eggs into your shower, but they are using concentrated marine proteins and omega fatty acids that act like physical therapy for aging hair. Here's why this brand stands out. Zero sulfates. Your scalp finally gets to keep its natural oils instead of being stripped dry. Zero parabens. No hormone-disrupting chemicals sneaking into your bloodstream. Zero formaldehyde-releasing preservatives. No DMDM hydantoin. No secret scalp aggressors. No slow-burn chemicals. A real repair, not coating. Everything Pantene does wrong, Alterna does right. Instead of plastic-like silicones that suffocate your strands, Alterna uses lipids and proteins that actually penetrate the hair shaft. Your hair doesn't just look better, it becomes better. Older adults especially notice the difference. Thinning hair starts to feel stronger. Breakage slows down. Your scalp stops feeling raw or irritated. Your hair doesn't fall out in clumps in the shower anymore. Is it pricey? Yes. Is it worth it for damaged, aging, or chemically stressed hair? Absolutely. If you've ever used a premium drugstore shampoo and felt betrayed, type "I need real repair" in the comments. BioTerra, the budget shampoo that's shockingly safe. Now let's talk about the one that surprised everyone. BioTerra doesn't scream luxury. It doesn't have celebrity ads. It doesn't pretend to be clean while sneaking in toxic ingredients. It just quietly does everything right. Here's what makes it the best affordable choice on the shelf. Sulfate-free. You get a gentle clean without stripping your scalp. Paraben-free. Safer for older adults, people with hormonal issues, and anyone with sensitive skin. No DMDM hydantoin. Meaning no hidden formaldehyde slowly eating away at your scalp. A formula's tailored to your needs. Strengthening. Volumizing. Hydrating. You're not guessing. You're actually choosing what your hair needs. Botanical extracts instead of harsh lab chemicals. Your scalp isn't fighting for its life every time you shower. What shocks most people is how affordable it is. $7 to $10 a bottle, and safer than brands selling for $25 or more. BioTerra proves you don't have to pick between cheap but dangerous and safe but expensive. This is the middle ground everyone's been begging for. If you want a shampoo that won't drain your wallet or your hairline, type "affordable and safe" in the comments.